Welcome to the Fancy Thinker. I'm Jared Quartermanch, and today we're going to be doing a quick little review of China Mieville's Embassy Town. Um, yes, this is a book that I'm reading along with my friends from the podcast Speculative Speculations. Um, you can check that out on Spotify and other places where you can find podcasts. So, Embassy Town by China Mieville. I had only previously read Perdido Street Station by Mr. Mieville, and I liked Perdido Street Station quite a bit. And so had no problem at all wanting to check this out. Plus, if you've been paying attention to my channel, you know that I had a discussion with this book with Angela from Do Unicorns Read, where she convinced me to check this out as well. So, to get right into it, there's a opening quote in the book that says, "The word must communicate something other than itself." That quote's by Walter Benjamin, and he wrote a book on some sort on languages. So communication seems to be the central theme running through these pages. Not only are people trying to communicate with each other, but they are trying to communicate with an alien species. Um, and it also feels like Mieville is trying to communicate something to or with us. And of course, I'm not sure if I got everything of what he was trying to say. I'm not sure even if I got anything, but I will give it a shot. Just keep in mind, I do all these reviews without doing any research on the story or reading other reviews prior to doing my own, because I just want to get my own thoughts out on stuff. So this story is told in first person. It's a character name, and forgive pronunciations here. Um, Avis Benacho, or Avisi, or Avis, or Avis. That's her name. There seems to be some sort of significance to her name. I'm not sure what it is. Beyond the initials ABC. I really couldn't tell you what that significance is. But that is once again something that Mieville seems to put in there that means something. Like I said, I'm not sure what it is. But she's a likable enough character that works to draw you into her world and give us a point of view that is knowledgeable and yet still has very much to discover. And so, the aliens, the Ariki, these these names. The alien sounding name is also very alien in nature. They're not just a person with like pointy ears and knobs in the head that happen to be able to understand humans perfectly. um, yeah, it was very cool. I like how alien the aliens were. So Avis grew up knowing of these aliens, but didn't normally interact with them as part of human society. And so the interaction she does have is kind of what moves the story into motion. And these aliens, they don't really have a means of communication that most folks understood until things happen. Things happen in the book. Humans, of course, the reason why things happen is humans just can't let things be. No, we have to have interaction all the time in the name of progress. Uh, and as you may guess, things start to go wrong, and thus our story progresses. It's really cool. Mieville does a good job of developing his world and luring us in, giving us only what we need to understand how different this place is compared to what we are used to. Oh, that's good. A little chai tea. It's good. Um, he invents slang and other terminology without really explaining it to us. He leaves it to the reader to puzzle out what the characters are talking about. Um, and that's cool. I kind of like that. And it reflects the narrator's private knowledge, meaning like it's how she would tell a story to someone in her world or setting. She's not going to over-explain something to someone who knows the same lingo as she does, the same way I'd have no need to explain what YouTube is to you who are watching this, because if you're watching this, you obviously already know what it is. And so she's doing the same thing. So, uh, or like I wouldn't have to explain, like I would have to explain YouTube to somebody who was like from the 1950s. That would be a long explanation. So, uh, and it would be a long explanation to explain her world to us, and she's not doing that. She's telling the story to somebody in her setting, in her world. And so, that's pretty cool too. Language, of course, is the core of the book, how it's developed and how it interacts with the brain on a physiological level. Mieville plays with the ideas of simile and metaphor, topic and example, and he plays with the idea of how words can be addictive, like a drug, and how this drug can drive an individual or a group of individuals into possibly doing things they wouldn't normally do. There's a neat little printing method that was used to display how speech may or may not sound like coming from some alien or by the means of communicating with the aliens, which is done with these sort of bioengineered twins called ambassadors. And hopefully I can display something that shows you what it looks like. Um, and I can't really delve into that more without giving stuff away. So we'll just leave it at there that, Melville does some neat stuff. um, he's also giving us plenty of his trademark commentary on society. Um, and he gives us plenty of other characters with motivations and stuff like that. Neat characters that are in the book besides just Avis. And while some of these characters' motivations might not be to Avis's liking, they can still be understood within the context of her telling us this story. These characters are either under duress or just have a different way of looking at things, and the decisions are based on their worldview. And Avis's character is astute enough and intuitive enough to give us information without distorting its personal bias. You know, without distorting the information with her personal bias, I should say. Um, and there are places where I thought that kind of storytelling viewpoint kind of made Avis a little too understanding and a bit too forgiving towards those who were her antagonists. But it's also, it's also unknown how far removed she is from this time when she's telling the story, and maybe with age came wisdom and reflections on others' actions. So the book is not long. It's only this is a hardcover and it runs less than 400 pages, and so I think Mieville did what he set out to do with quite a lot of precision in here. There were sections in the book where I wish he would have kind of expanded the universe a bit more and maybe introduce us to more ideas about the future of humanity. But I think that's my personal bias, my personal love of space opera, kind of knocking on the door here. Um, and this is not space opera. This is a succinct idea about language and how it's used and how it can be abused in a futuristic non-Earth setting. Um, the settle is a human, and there are subtle hints to Earth history here and there, but otherwise, Embassy Town is a new and interesting place, and Mieville expertly gives us all the information we need to vividly picture what this tiny dot in the universe is like. There are uh, there are times I think he leans a little too heavy on the cultural colloquialisms and the societal complexities in here that that I thought just could have been moved on a little bit. But that's once again a uh, a little minor quibble. Like, and it because there was one section in the book I got a little lost in the explanation. And I just wanted to move on. So like I said, minor quibble. I feel this book is a unique experience that should not be passed on. I mean, I guess if I had to choose between this and Perdido Street Station, the first book I read of his, right now I'd choose Perdido just because the more fantastical elements to it. Um, but who knows? That might change with enough time to let this book really sink in. Perdido needed to sink in too. Once again, expert writing. Um, Mieville is just good at his craft. He knows what he's doing, and like I said, it's not that long. It's a good book to get into. It's a great book to read and really think about later. Made me think about a lot of things about the nature of language and just how it's used. And maybe through the nature of language, I can get you to read this as well. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you like this video. And be good to each other. Thank you.